Welcome to Dragon Valley, a land of myth and fantasy. It has been years since any adult dragons have terrorized this peaceful town, but it's not yet time to rest. The elven Sims of Dragon Valley are working to ensure that their military is up to par, their citizens are prepared for disaster, and that the scientific techniques that they've used to keep the dragonlings small stay intact. What's up guys, Rakowski here, and today we're going to be judging and rating the EA builds here in Dragon Valley. Before we get started, please don't forget to like this video and please subscribe if you'd like to see more Sims content. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. Also, don't forget to vote on my community tab on which world you want to see next. We're down to the last few, so every vote counts. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Oh wow, this is actually really pretty. I'm not sure what I was expecting, but this is my first time here too. So what's up guys, welcome to Dragon Valley. Yes, so like I said, this is actually like my first time really in Dragon Valley. I don't think I've really played in it. I've seen like 1 or 2 videos about it, and I've seen lots of people's opinions, and you'd think I would know about this because I am really into like, you know, fantasy and mages and elves and dragons and all those kinds of things. By the way, hit me up if you play World of Warcraft Classic. But anyway, as I scan around the world, the first thing I notice is that it's not too big. There's still lots of builds. There's just as many as any other Sims 3 world, but just like the amount of roads and mountains and stuff, a lot of the hills and whatnot are just kind of for show, which is a little bit nicer. Like I like to see mountains in the distance, but I don't want to have to climb a mountain to get to my house. But of course, there's quite a bit of countryside too, like usual. So let's just jump in and see what the first build looks like. I'm curious. First up is Carrigbeg. I actually don't know how to pronounce that. I just gave it my best shot. But looking at this, oh no, I think it's gonna be like an ugly EA house world, unfortunately. I wasn't really sure what I was expecting with Dragon Valley, but like looking at this, it kind of looks like, you know, like a suburban house crossed with a stone castle, which is not necessarily ideal when it comes to a Sims build. I do feel like these dormers are missing a window each. That's not very nice, but the windowing overall isn't too bad. They have a nice greenhouse area. I like that. There's a lot of plants though. This is too much gardening. If you've seen any of my other episodes, I don't like houses with this many plants. It takes way too long to water everything, but it wouldn't be an EA world without an ugly house and a big garden, right? Okay, let's jump inside. Ew, I don't like, okay, I'm sorry. I just initially reacted, but I don't like how the kitchen is against this wall because it's not at the edge of the house and you're not gonna be able to see the backsplash. Not that they used a backsplash, because behind it is the bathroom. They use this gross, ugly tile throughout. And then we have a bathroom sink in the kitchen as usual, ugly dining chair. I don't mind this actual sofa layout. I haven't seen this in a while. Usually they do like a diagonal ugly sofa facing an ugly TV. This time they just did 2 ugly couches facing each other. Oh, the bedroom is uninspiring too. It does, the one thing I will give it is that it does have that little bit of an old-fashioned feel to it. Oh good, the daughter has a room. I was just thinking because this is like a single father and his daughter, and I'm like, where is she gonna sleep? But yeah, I found it. I actually think her room is probably the nicest and most decorated, which really does say something. She should at least have a desk. Yeah, okay, coming back outside, I think I know what this is gonna be. I know I've only seen one house, but it's gonna be hard to kind of merge the 2 styles together. I think we're gonna have a few houses in this world that are like giant castles or something that are gonna blow us away, maybe. But I think we're gonna have a lot of these, which are like starter Simsy houses crossed with like a medieval castle. So I'm not sure how this is gonna go. This style is not for me. I'm gonna give this a 4. We're opening with a 4, but you know what? We have done way worse in other worlds before, so that's not too bad. God, it must be like a year ago, but remember Twinbrook? God, that was ugly. I'm sorry, I'm gonna stay focused. Let's keep going with Dragon Valley. See you in the next one. Next up is Dara Cottage. And as you can see, I can barely see it, and I don't normally like to make changes to the lot, but I think I'm gonna delete this tree just so we can get a better look. Usually when EA puts trees in front of it, we're in for a big surprise, but so far the only thing I see is like slightly green windows and door. It's actually really nice. I think it goes really well with the stone, but again, it's just got that like suburban shape with the medieval walls. Actually, you know what? I've actually used the same wall in a mid-century modern build before, so shouldn't speak too soon. But I didn't make it for the whole house, and I certainly didn't make the flat so front, so I don't know. Let's just jump inside. There isn't really much to say. It's another letter T house by EA. Okay, so coming in, the first thing I notice is the basement, and this guy, he is a criminal, so we have another set of criminal Sims. It is one of those base game store worlds anyway. But yeah, we can see all his stolen stuff hidden away. So going up to the main level, okay, I like this a lot better than the last house. If you're familiar with this series, you know I really appreciate commitment, even if I think it's ugly, and I don't think this is particularly pretty. I don't think it's that ugly either, but they have a full vision. They're like, we're gonna do a full castle, stone floor, stone wall, dirty stone bath, bathtub, toilet, everything. And the appliances, despite the fact they have a baby poo fridge, it does kind of fit in with it because it just looks like really rustic and just kind of thrown together. And normally I would hate this bathroom sink just sitting in the kitchen like this, but it kind of works in this weird concept. I don't know why. Maybe it's because like older Victorian houses and stuff sometimes have like a separate basin in the kitchen, so it's kind of going with that. But I mean, overall, there isn't really much to say except they really executed the concept. I definitely think it's better than the last one. I don't like the shape too much or anything though. And sometimes less is more, right? Because like sometimes when EA really goes for a concept, they really go for it too hard, which is again something that I would prefer over something underwhelming. I think this is just enough. It just doesn't really have that much style. The concept is good, but there is no style really to it. So I don't know. I'm gonna give this one a 6. A 6. I don't even know if it's worth a 6, but you know what? It does kind of suit the vibe. It suits the Dragon Valley thing. I don't think a house like this would fit in any other world. And I'd much rather see more of this than more of what we saw last. So let's see what our next house looks like. Next up is Defended Domicile. Now that we're close to the end of the worlds, like certain words like domicile, EA likes to use all the time. And it was a word I never even knew before. Quite frankly, I still don't know what it means, but looking around at the house, again, they're covering things in trees that might just be like a Dragon Valley style thing. I will say this thing is a little too boxy here at the front. But other than that, kind of very suburban-y. This kind of looks like a cross between like a wedding chapel and a witch's house. I don't really know how else to explain it. But yeah, looking around through all the trees, I don't see any like window problems or anything. I was surprised. I was expecting it to be a lot worse, but I think it's really just to cover up that like big porch thing at the front. So I'm not too sure. Let's look inside and see what they did there. Oh wow, like I see a little bit of style. That's a first for Dragon Valley. Well done. Okay, let's just go through the house and see. We have a mildly repulsive green wallpaper. That's not too bad, EA. Usually it's a lot worse, going into a blue living room that is a little bit uninspiring, but I do like how there's like candles around. It's a little bit more medieval to have candles, right? Like they have like the chandeliers, even if they're electric. They have a candle on the table, a candle on the fireplace. Oh wow, they put fireplace tools next to the fireplace. Usually they put it in the kitchen. Okay, here we have the world's longest kitchen for no reason. We have the fridge and the stove next to each other, despite the fact that there's like 12 places to put them. This dining table is weird. I don't like it off to the side with just the 2 chairs, but in here is all right. They tried to do a nice dining room for me. They put my least favorite bookshelf, they put my least favorite plant, and they stuck 2 tables together instead of one big one. But you know what? They gave it a shot for once. Okay, there's no basement in this one. Let's go upstairs. Okay, this isn't too bad. I was gonna say that there's not too many things in this house, which is a little bit underwhelming. It's a good start to a house. This looks like a rough draft to a house. Now, the only thing I will say that I do not understand is the 4 lamps in this bedroom. Why are there one in each corner? That doesn't make any sense. There's nothing next to the bed, and it has this like ensuite balcony thing, which I was complaining about earlier. And if you look at it, there's not even a fence. You just walk out here and like what? Like, do you just stand here? I don't get it. Yeah, and as we can see, the color palette as a whole, again, EA is trying to blend blue and green together and thinks it works, but you know what? It doesn't. Yeah, coming back outside, it's a nice bright white piece of Dragon Valley, and I do think the outside is stronger than the inside. It's got some good architectural steps. Again, this is like a good rough copy to a house. They did like the first half of it, and I think just rushed the second. But it's still the best thing I've seen here, so I don't know. I'm gonna give it a 6.5. I was gonna give it a 7, but it's not quite there. I need something a little bit nicer. But now that I'm a couple houses in, I've seen a few on the map view, so I'm still pretty excited and I'm pretty optimistic on what we're gonna see next. So let's go. Next up is Glenbeg. Yay, it's hideously stunning. Just what I'm looking for from EA. Now, I know this house is a statement, but I'm not being sarcastic. I really do like it. The shape is kind of wide and weird, but it's very whimsical. I love the details in the front. Normally, I hate when EA does a bunch of archways all together, but this, it creates a little bit of a different feel. I also like the white fence with it. I don't know. I don't really know what to say. It's blowing me away. Looking at the back, you know what? I would hate the back of this house if it was any other house, but for this, I'm down for it. It's just whimsical, and I'm not looking for something that's half suburban and half castle. I'm looking for something new, something innovative, and this is giving it to me. There's also a dragon statue on the roof. That's really nice. Okay, let's go inside. Okay, kind of a weird floor plan. Not really for me, but this is Dragon Valley, and since they're going for a concept, I'm not looking for like a residential floor plan. I don't mind that the bedroom's at the front here. And quite frankly, there's no toilet. It's just a washroom here, so no toilet room. That's kind of weird. Maybe there's one upstairs, but the living room looks pretty normal. It has my favorite plant. I really like this dining room set. I think this dining room set actually comes with Dragon Valley because I don't really recognize it. Going into the kitchen, we have a bathroom sink as usual, but overall the kitchen looks pretty good. Again, like what weird to have a washroom. Is there a toilet upstairs? There are 2 toilets upstairs. What is is this? Going up to the second floor, again, very weird and whimsical, but I really like how this looks from the front, so I don't really care that the upstairs is inefficient, because I know that there has to be sacrifices made for a style like this. And again, I've never seen that toilet or sink, so these must be from Dragon Valley as well. Well done. I hate when they do a themed world and then they use all the base game crap, right? It doesn't make any sense. This is definitely better. But yeah, coming back outside, like, it's weird, it's whimsical. I got a little bit of tingly going down my arm, which is something I did not expect from the fourth house in Dragon Valley. But yeah, it's got that castle vibe. I really like it. It's whimsical. I didn't really know what I wanted from this, but I guess this is as close as we're gonna get. So I'm gonna give this one a 9. 9 is pretty good for something this weird. I hope we get a mansion in a weird whimsical style like this. That'll just set it over the top. But of course, there's probably a few ugly houses to get through until then, so let's see what's next. Next up is Hefty Home. And if you can tell by my hefty tone, you'll know that I'm looking at this like it's a big EA build, so this is not necessarily the best thing to happen. It's just too bulky. It looks too like ABCs, like my first big Sims house. It's like box, 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 roof, roof, which is I guess what all Sims houses are, but I don't know. Oh no, look at this back wall, like no window in sight. Oh, I don't know how I feel about that. And I swear, if there's no second floor on this thing, I'll freak out. Okay, let's just jump inside. Oh, look at this. It's like all blood red and white and black. Okay, so this is not really what I was expecting, especially from the outside. But you know me, I love a concept. I just think this screams a little bit too solid color build challenge. Like, we've been doing these for a long time. Actually, come to think of it, this is probably like the first rendition of it, because all those build challenges were mostly from the Sims 4 YouTube days. But sadly, those days are ending. Okay, going into the office here. Wow, a computer. Usually like EA builds don't start with a computer, so that's kind of nice. But I will draw attention to the fact this is our first kitchen sink, so well done. Okay, let's go upstairs. Okay, so the red even continues throughout. So like what I'm thinking is this is kind of a nice concept, because this couple, they're living with the grandmother, right? Like they moved in with her, and it looks like this might be the grandmother's room, which she kept in her style. This is kind of like an older lady, powder blue, flowers. And then this witch in the red took over the whole house and made it all red. So that's kind of like an extra point for me. I can kind of appreciate that. Oh my God, is she pregnant? There's a baby's room too. Okay, so I've seen all I needed to see, except remember I said I hope there's a second floor? What I meant was a third floor, because this is so bulky I couldn't even tell. And yes, the third floor is just for pretend. Oh, whatever. Coming back outside, I don't really know what to say, because like conceptually I didn't quite get it at first, but I think I'm onto something. I think that little red lady is the one who took over everything. And if you know anything about like, you know, females and territory and stuff, then you know this is just set for disaster. But we cannot overlook the ugly, bulky outside shell. I honestly can't even stand looking at it. I'm gonna take off a point anyway. I'm gonna give this house a 5. Yeah, a 5. Like, it's a concept and like it's good, but again, like this is a Twinbrook shell. We cannot forgive stuff like this, because in reality I just expect something better from a world that's like this late into the Sims 3's franchise. I don't know. Let's see what's next. Next up is Home for the Gentry. Wow, this is actually kind of stunning. I'm impressed. This kind of reminds me of those beautiful houses that we saw in France. You know, Chambre Sim, like we had like those nice corner houses with the beautiful roofing and gardens. Now, if you remember, those houses were particularly hideous inside, but let's not worry about that yet. Let's look at the beautiful windowing. I love the roofing details. Those are so beautiful. It has that old medieval style without looking like a weird mix of a castle and something that EA made. Yeah, I love the post. I love the windowing. I love the garden. Wow, look at this back garden. It's so beautiful. Okay, now I'm in a much better mood. Dragon Valley's starting to impress, so let's hope they didn't screw up the inside. Let's see. Okay, so tragically, the first thing when you walk in is this like pseudo carpet that EA made out of like different floor tiles. I like the creativity. I just think it's ugly. Going in here, the half bathroom, it's a little bit too big, but this is kind of a big house. I like the color on the wall though. I think that's the first color I've liked. This living room though, ugh. And I would just like to note that I did turn on every light in this house. I have a lighting mod installed, and all the windows, like the outside is daytime, so I'm not sure why it's so dark in here, but that's besides the point. Let's look at the other half of the house. This wing is a little bit more typical. We have a nice bar here, big dining room set, and I love hutches in the dining room. I've always talked about this. I'm like, I love when EA puts like a hutch or two in the dining room. Well done. They did their best. And they even did their best for the kitchen. What a nice little size. They have a garbage can, everything that we need, really. Even a kitchen sink. Well done. Okay, let's go upstairs. Okay, going upstairs is like still pretty good. It still looks like one of those like EA big houses though, right? Like not too much decoration, but they're using a lot more of like the sensible items. I really like how they're using the bathtub and the toilet and stuff that came with the world. I don't like how this bathroom mirror is on the side. I would have put it straight on. Like, why couldn't you do that? Nice long hallway, typical EA style, a couple bedrooms. I don't know. The inside is a little bit uninspiring. I was kind of expecting a little bit more. Oh, but I do like this little baby room that's almost like a closet off of the parents' bedroom. Yeah, it's a little bit weird, but I mean, I do do like it for efficiency's sake. I would just stick the baby in there. Hell, I'd stick triplets in there if I could. Okay, let's go back outside. Again, this is one of those things where EA blows us away with the shell and then the inside is a little bit disappointing. But honestly, like coming back out to it, it is absolutely gorgeous. I really love the outside. I love the roofing. I love the windows. I love the garden. I even love the color palette. The inside isn't like ugly or anything. I was just expecting a little bit more. It just looks like a little bit too much EA square rooms, bed, dresser, 2 nightstands. Like I was expecting a little bit extra, but still one of the best that we've seen. I don't know. This shell's really good. I'm going to give it a 9 as well. A 9, my goodness. So I guess they're impressing me so far, but this is probably going to be the largest house this episode. So they're going to have to be getting into details soon to keep impressing me. Unfortunately, that's not really EA's strong point. So let's see what they did. Next up is Humble House. I wasn't really sure what to expect. This is a beautiful garden, my goodness. But from the map view, it's kind of on its own. Like the house doesn't really have any good neighbors. And from the details on the roof, I thought it was going to be a lot bigger, but it's just mostly a garden, which makes sense. This is like a gardening sim and everything. So it's exactly what I would expect. And looking at the outside, again, remember how I said details are where it's going to be? This house has details. Love the roof, love the windows, love the door. I love the roofing details. I like the lattice roof over the patio. They even put vines on the side. Well done. And they're using like a medieval ugly brick and windows, but in a good way where it looks like it belongs. So that's a first. Well done. Again, too many plants for me, but for a gardening sim or someone who wants to play one, it's perfect. Okay, let's see how EA blew it inside. That's kind of a weird term. I like how someone blew it. I would say they greened it if you screwed something up, because that's usually what EA does, but not in this one. It actually looks like a little medieval castle house, and not in too much of a suburban way. I know we're going to be limited based on furniture and stuff, but this just gives me more of that feel. And actually, one of the good ways to do that, like a good way to mix the two that I've noticed that they've done, is that replace all of your tile with medieval brick. If you do that, you can kind of medieval your house pretty quickly. Like you can still use wood and stuff for the floor and whatever. But yeah, looking around, I don't know, like why is there so many dining room table chairs? I know I like having extras off to the side once in a while for a build, but not for a house this small. The bathroom looks very dungeony and dragon-like. I love it. I don't know. It's just not really doing it for me inside. Again, great concept. I love the idea. I love the color palette. I do like the red and the wood mixed with the gray stone. I think it's nice, but again, it's still missing something. For me to give out a 10, I really need the inside and the outside to be a home run, and so far we've just had 10 outsides. And this one is no exception, but I did like the inside a lot more than some of the other houses. This is definitely the best smaller house that we've seen so far. I'm hesitant to give it a 9, so I'm gonna give it an 8.5. 8.5 is pretty good for a little EA starter house, quite frankly. And now they're starting to show me that they can really use some of these like dragon aesthetics to some extent. So let's see what they did next. Next up is Landing Place. Oh well, EA blew it once again. It's actually not too bad. It's just, again, like they like doing the letter T as the floor plan, sticking 2 gabled or hipped roofs on it and calling it a day. This is not enough. I like how they did like, you know, the vines and whatever, but if you think about it, like the whole lore behind this world is that dragons come and like destroy all the houses sometimes. So how long does a house have to stay there to get all the vines up? Maybe it means it wasn't destroyed in the last one. But again, looking back, they have a beautiful garden. Too many gardens in Dragon Valley. It's oversaturating the market. I always end up painting and gardening by accident. I don't need it encouraged necessarily. And what I will say is that the back is far more beautiful. Look at these bay windows. There's maybe a few too many, but at least it looks nice. But it's facing like the edge of the world here, right? So like it's not the front door. I thought it might be because it looks like it could be, but whatever. Okay, let's just jump inside. Okay, it's got 2 blue EA hallways, which I'm not really a fan of. Oh my God, like 3 hallways. It's kind of a little bit of a waste of space. You can do hallways without taking out chunks of your house. Going into the kitchen, it has its own bathroom sink. It's a lovely mix of different baby poo colors. I don't know. I like this little overgrown part. I like how she has all the different plants. I like everything sticking through the windows. That's kind of nice. But again, a very dark house. And then if we look in this room, this room looks a little bit creepy. It almost looks like a seance table. And I like the wall of bookshelves. It's actually kind of nice. It's a little bit ugly, but it's still nice. Now we have a green and yellow bedroom. Again, I know what they're going for. There's like leaves on the carpet and stuff, but it's too obvious, right? Like there's ways you can make things look floral and with plants without putting leaves on your carpet. The bathroom is kind of nice. I wish they didn't use tile. I wish they were using like, you know, brick and stuff. Like look at this outside brick. You could have easily used that for the bathroom or even the backsplash in the kitchen, just to dungeon it up a little bit, but I digress. Let's just come back outside. There comes times in certain worlds where I have to take points away because things get a little bit too repetitive, or I was impressed with one thing and then they use it 10 times, so I'm not impressed anymore. That's kind of how this house is with the plants. This shell is just awful. The inside is questionable, and the outside, like they just tried to decorate it, but it's like putting googly eyes on a piece of poop. It just doesn't work. I don't like it. It's weak. I don't know. I'm gonna give it a 2. Honestly, I would have given it a better score had I seen it earlier, but after we saw so many garden houses and vines up the walls, it's just not really nice. And it looks kind of dungeony, and the inside should be more dungeony and not just dark. I don't know. Anyway, let's just see what's next. Next up is the Limerick House. Oh dear, this green is a decision, and I'm not sure how I feel about this decision. Actually, yes I do. I think it's awful. I hate it. I'm sorry. This house is just like so weirdly shaped. It's almost like colonial and like it's bulky. Green windows everywhere. It's a little whimsical, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Let's just jump inside and see. Oh my god, it looks like a Sunset Valley house is pregnant with a gay Irish elf. My goodness. Honestly, I was not expecting the rainbow. That kind of threw me off because I was definitely expecting to go inside and see lots of like ugly Sunset Valley yellows and greens. But the rainbow wood is a little bit of a nice touch. It's a little bit of personality, and you know me, I love a concept. It's just that, again, after so many like Sims 4 build challenge videos, things like this aren't as new and innovative, but back then they were. Like this is probably the first ever rainbow floor in The Sims, right? Okay, let's just go upstairs. Okay, the upstairs is a little bit empty. This is a little bit unusual because the downstairs is a little bit cramped and crowded, but then again, the second floor is bigger than the first floor of this house. And yeah, they're still going for the green. I don't necessarily like it. You know I don't like green. I know he's Irish. I know it's Dragon Valley. By the way, if you remember how Shang Simla, even though it was supposed to be China, it was kind of partly Japan. This is kind of how Dragon Valley is. It's mostly Irish with like little dashes of Scottish. But once again, I digress. Coming back outside, looking at it, it kind of fits in with the world. I will give it that. Oh, I don't know. The inside is so Sunset Valley though. I don't know what to do. You know what? They gave it a good shot. And this house is not for me, but like with what they put into it, let's just give them a 7. A lucky 7. And then at least the number on the screen will be green to match the house. Oh god, that was kind of painful. I don't know what to do. Why does EA hurt me like this? Oh my god. Next up is Loch House. See, I told you it was a little bit Scottish. This is Nessie Lachlan. So she's living by the lake, and like, is that a monster in the lake? I don't know, like the bios are kind of weird. But yeah, we're here for the builds, not the Sims. And looking at the build, it just looks like another one of those letter T houses that EA likes to do. Again, like lots of vines and plants. I like the stone color of this one. I will say, ooh, look at the bay windows. That's actually kind of nice. Look, see, I was actually pleasantly surprised. This looks a little bit more like an EA house. Look at that, 20 windows in a row. But seriously, looking out the back at the lake, like that's gorgeous. And that's exactly where I would want my windows. And I think they're Dragon Valley windows, like the little detail at the top, it does kind of tie in the aesthetic. Like they don't look super modern, if you know what I mean. And the last point I want to say is that this colored door is gorgeous. I love this shade of red. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, let's just jump inside and prepare for green. Oh wow, there's not that much green. There's a little bit in the wood, but let's just look through this. This is one of those like castle-y houses that just go for like the stone floor to ceiling and just make it look like a little bit of a dungeon, you know? Let's look in the bedroom. Ooh, they got a Scary Spice bedspread, my favorite. Let's go in the kitchen next. Again, they have the sink kind of like separate. You have to go to this like dragon wall sink instead of like, I don't know. I didn't mind the basin that they tried earlier, but this is a little bit weird. Also, the counter is like only islands. This is a weird kitchen. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know how a dungeon kitchen would look though. And here, once again, we have lots of bookcases, lots of library stuff. See, this is the problem, is that like they have a few good ideas. It's just that they repeat them too many times, so it gets old. Like, I've seen this bookcase wall. I've seen this bathroom. Actually, I haven't seen this bathroom because they decided to not use the Dragon Valley plumbing. Like, why not? Like, why would you not use it? It comes with it. They were able to use the sink in the kitchen, but then they use like the pedestal sink in the bathroom. I don't know. But yeah, I'm just rambling. Like, it's okay. It's pretty good. It's too big of a hallway though. Like, once again, like look at this EA hallway. It's bigger than some of the rooms, for goodness sake. But you know what? Anyway, it's a small house. It's only for one sim. I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, coming back outside, it's just like another one of those. I don't mind the name. There's a little bit more like creativity with that. I know it's kind of stupid, but like, you know, Nessie Lachlan, like I don't hate it. And this house is a little bit more charming and a little bit more aesthetic than some of the other ones we've seen in a similar style, but I can't give it too many points. It's just not fresh enough. I do like the back bay windows though, so that'll bump it up. I'm gonna give it a 5. 5 is very generous for this house, I'll tell you. I think what bothers me most about these is that I think any simmer can pull some of these together, and this is a $25 store world. I don't mind if the expansion pack worlds are ugly because then like I just go in and fix it and play the game, but like this is a store world. I bought this. Show me something good. Next up is Secure Stronghold. Sorry, I just can't see it. Again, there's too many trees and plants and stuff, and this wall foundation is definitely a statement. I was curious to see like how they would do like strongholds and castle styles and kind of mix it with the Sims, so I guess this will be our first shot. Looking at this, the one thing I noticed is that this tree is like going through the basement, so it's growing through this pillar. It's kind of a nice detail. well. I'm not patient enough for that. I think the foundation is a little too tall. I don't know. Let's look at it from like far away. How does it look? Yeah, it isn't too bad like when you take a step back. So let's just forgive it. We have evenly colonial EA windows as usual. This weird like square on the side, it's kind of castle-y, so I don't mind it. If this was in any other world, it would bother me. But these windows, this house kind of looks like the mutated stepchild of an Aurora Skies house, unfortunately, but that's okay. We don't have to worry about it. It does kind of look like a castle, an ugly castle, but it's a castle. So let's go inside. Okay, so the basement is like a dungeon, it looks like, with just hay inside, which is great for you horse people. I know some of you love playing horses. But yeah, going upstairs, you have this terribly inefficient wraparound hallway that leads you to a longer hallway. Oh, I don't know how I feel about that. But I guess you don't have to go to the dungeon every day. If you come in the front door, then you've got like living room, dining room, kitchen all together. Way too many pedestal lights. Like I know these worlds are dark and like you can use like different kinds of lighting to pull off a castle. Like I love the wall sconces and stuff, but this is just way too many of the same torch. The kitchen actually has no sink at all this time, -1 point. I don't know, these kind of look like Midnight Hollow interiors, but a little bit darker and drearier. There's a spider web on this rug. I don't know, it kind of seems like a little too daycare Halloween. I don't know, going upstairs, let's see. They kept the same color scheme. I don't hate it actually, and I'm glad that they kept it cohesive. I was scared there was gonna be like neon green everywhere up here, because that's what I'm used to, but they use like the tubs, the toilets, the sinks, you know, the stuff that actually came with the world. Going upstairs, what's on the tower? Nothing. They didn't really do anything here. This isn't even walled over, so it's just kind of like, see, okay, so for like people who build, this drives me crazy. Like I do a bunch of mansions and you got to do lots of little roofing things. You're gonna end up with like a broken weird roof like this. And I don't think this is gonna be a problem, but like if you have seasons installed, sometimes like it doesn't cover your rooms properly and like you'll get snow in your bedroom. That'd be an interesting video to kind of like play test a bunch of houses to see which ones EA screwed up with seasons. But anyway, coming back outside, I do get the feeling this is one of the main lore families in the whole world. Again, I don't really get too much into it, but this is like the Mithralin family and they're like one of the two big households fighting for power. And this house definitely feels like it. Like they live in a castle. No one else has lived in a castle yet, but I wish it had a few more details. I wish it was brightened up a little bit, and I wish it was a little bit prettier. It's a little ugly, a little too ugly for me. I don't know. I'm gonna give it an 8. I'm giving it an 8 because even though I don't like it, it's still like a pretty good style and a really good effort for EA. And at least they put their effort with one of the main families. But the next house is actually our last one for this episode, so let's see how we end off. Last but not least is Small Steady Home. Okay, so first off, this house has the opposite problem that most EA builds have. This doesn't have enough windows. This is like almost windowless. Okay, well the back's got a bunch of windows, but they put them all at the back in this house. Look at the front, but at least they put it on the dormer. If they put one window, I would expect it there. And I guess like in hindsight, if you think about it, castles aren't known for their windows. Like you might have like little skinny ones for people to shoot arrows out of. But yes, I do want to mention that this is like a very simple box house, similar to the ones I was complaining about before, but it has so many more details. Like it has like the overhang roof here with the posts. You've got the balcony that wraps all the way around. You have the roofing detail. You have like windows, and it's like balanced too. It's not symmetrical, but it's balanced. And I don't think any of the smaller houses have done that. So this is probably my favorite one so far. And I'm not too much into Cass, but I think she looks gorgeous for a sim who's dressed head to toe in green. Okay, this is kind of what I'm talking about. This is a nice blend between like the castle and the suburban. They're using a terracotta tile, but they color it like stone, like it would be like a castle. Ooh, going into the kitchen, they have a bathroom sink, which, well, I guess in the last house, they didn't even have a sink, so at least it's something. Let's see. Why is the dining room all the way against the window there? I would just move it over. Ooh, and a half bath downstairs. They better have a full bathroom upstairs. Oh, good, they do. And they actually have a bath mat. That might be our first bath mat. I don't remember seeing any before. Okay, and then going into the bedroom, you'll notice there's like a wash basin here, like in the bedroom. And like back in like Victorian times, and actually more like before, like the Tudor times, in your bedroom, like you'd have like a chamber pot under your bed for you to go to the bathroom. And then you would have like a washing bowl, like a wash station kind of in your bedroom too. So maybe that's where it's coming from. I don't know. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. But again, popping back outside, it's pretty good for a little ugly stone castle house. And this house just has a level of quality that I'm expecting. I didn't see it in any of the other smaller houses. This one's definitely my favorite, but it still doesn't blow me away or anything. I like most of the choices that they made. A few of my nitpicky problems as well, but what can you do? I'm gonna give it a 6.5. Yeah, 6.5. I almost did 7, but it's not a 7. I just think back to like the other scores that I gave in this world, and we didn't get a perfect 10 yet, so maybe we'll get it in our second episode, but I guess we'll have to wait and see for that one. Well, that does it for the first half of Dragon Valley. What did you guys think? I thought it was gonna be lots of like ugly stone squares, and in fact, only half of the builds were like that. But seriously, we saw like a few like Sunset Valley disasters, which I was not expecting in Dragon Valley, but then again, like I've never played in this world. I didn't really know what to expect anyway. One thing I will say is that some of the builds gave gave me lots of ideas for things that I would like to do in my builds. You know, like conceptually, like now I have a few ideas of how I want to use stone walls and flooring and stuff, but I will definitely do it a lot nicer than this. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give this video a like and don't forget to subscribe for some more Sims content. And thank you to my dedicated Simmers for sponsoring today's video. You guys are the best. It's just so weird to think, like, when I just started yelling at my computer about Sunset Valley and how ugly it was, that like we would come full circle and go this far. Thanks for believing in me. I won't let you down, I promise. See you in the next one. Boom.